Before we get started, I do have a couple of rules. I do have a couple of rules though. Number one is there's absolutely no standing, you get to stay seated. Number two, no smoking or vaping is allowed, so you are allowed to drink as much as you can. And number three is not so much a rule, it's just a precaution. If you fall in the river, I have life jackets for y'all. You probably won't need them. If you do fall, you can stand up and walk out. It's about 3 to 5 feet for the most part, and you should be okay. Aside from that, that's our safety spiel. Unless you guys are celebrities while you're on board, people get very excited to wave at y'all. So if you see somebody waving, you absolutely must wave back. It is mandatory. When somebody waves at you, we'll be able to practice our waves. I'm going to be coming out from under this bridge. If you guys look back at it, this bridge is a little bit famous. It looks like every other bridge in the river. This is our famous Sabina Bridge. So I have to be a fan. Back in 1997. In 1997, Jennifer Lopez played Selena Quintanilla, stopped that very bridge back there. It's on the team who moved Selena on that side of the bridge, on the bridge itself, where it's very so we'll come to the bridge like this. That just looks like a really good movie. But it's famous. Here's that bridge. It is a beautiful bridge. It's a beautiful, beautiful morning. I hope you guys get to see it. Enjoy the weather out there. Get yourself really up. It started in 1941. But that's what it is. Well, the river's always been here. The river's always been here, but they started building it in 1938. So about 3 years until 1961, and it became a river bottom. They started to connect it all. I like our bridge here. There's nothing special about it, so don't worry about it. But please grab your cameras out for an optimal illusion. We come under the bridge. I'm going to need everybody to look over the left over here and all the way over the sky. So you want to grab your cameras out and maybe take a picture. Take a look over the left and then all the way up to the sky. I hope you can see it from here. It's the most even optimal illusion. Next to the left, reach in. So you should be able to see that with me. One more time. I'll let you guys figure out the question. Back here is the Nick Hospital. It's a real hospital. I was at one point. It was the second hospital opened in the city. It opened in 1930. It ran the longest until 2019 when they just shut it down recently. Then the city had plans to turn it into a hotel. They're actually still working on it. They're going to turn that 9-year-old hospital into a brand new hotel. But it's going to stay in the exact same building. So that by the time people are allowed to stay there, it will be very, very haunted. Just the same thing that happened at the first hospital. They turned it into a hotel. It's very, very haunted now. But you guys can try it out for yourselves. Let me know. We're coming into this area. On the left is a hotel. It's not haunted, I promise. It's called the Hyatt Regency. But it is special. It's the only hotel that has a shortcut to the Alamo if you happen to need it throughout the time here in the city. So as we pass this area, all you have to do is go to either of these doors here. It's going to take you to the lobby of the hotel. You walk straight to the other side. There's going to be waterfalls and water fountains on the other side. There's going to be a staircase and a lot of beautiful scenery. When you follow the staircase up, Alamo Falls is right there, and the Alamo is going to be in the middle. So it's an easy shortcut. It's about a 5-minute walk. Not when I remember this area, so you need to get there quickly. And the Alamo does kind of have the mall around that area, so if you want to get to the mall, that can also happen. Yeah. Did I make this boat? Did I make it? Oh. People in Germany made it. On this right side, we're coming up on the Casino Club building. On the right, this building opened up in 1926. Funnily enough, a group of Germans did also build this. They named it the Casino Club building, but that has no relevance to the building itself. It was never a casino. It was also never a club. It is simply a building. That's all it is. The first 2 floors are part of a Saltgrass Steakhouse. The rest of the building up there, it's an apartment complex actually. People live on the top 4 floors, residentials. They are some of the cheapest apartments on the river. They really only go for about $300 a month, so it is very, very cheap. It's a little bit unbelievable, I know, so I can assure you there is a catch. The apartments back here, there is a catch. The apartments have a wait list of about 16 years long, so if you're thinking about it, you could think a little bit longer. If you really, really want that. If you guys are feeling hungry, this area is called Restaurant Row, where the restaurants are located. For the most part, they're on the left and the right side. They've just set up for the morning. Most of them are going to be opening pretty soon. Now, you guys, I would check them out before it gets too busy out here. Absolutely check them out. There were super, super long lines yesterday. And I want you guys in a 2-hour wait line for food. There are a lot of ducks across the river. You've been counting them? Oh my gosh, 46 ducks. Last time I had somebody count 27, and that was it. But there's only 27 on the entire river walk. Oh. On the right, this is going to be another restaurant we're coming up on. In front of us, they have all of the colorful umbrellas. I probably know which one it is. This is also kind of special. This restaurant was the very first one on the Riverwalk. We call it Casa Rio. They opened up in 1946, and because they were the first ones to offer food out here, to offer riverside dining, they do get this entire sidewalk to themselves. There's a lot of tourist photos, a lot of pamphlet photos that recognize Casa Rio and their umbrellas. Just last year, they did celebrate 75 years on our Riverwalk, so they've been here for quite some time. We are going to take a left here. We're going to go into this bridge area. This bridge is going to be the start to the man-made extension of the Riverwalk. So everything past this bridge is what I call the fake river. It's not real. But this part of the river that we're in right now, it is real. It's about 3 feet of water. It has a mud bottom. It's naturally flowing, and this section's always been here. Everything past this bridge is going to be about 5 feet of water. It has a cement bottom instead. Now this section was built under the street level. That's why this area is a tunnel. It all happened back in 1968. That was a pretty big year for the city. The city was celebrating 250 years as San Antonio, so it was our birthday. And then we were also celebrating a party. It was called the World Fair of 1968. It lasted about 6 months long. About 5 months longer. But we like to party every year. Like I said, it was our birthday, so we let it happen. All 6 months of it. It was such a big party, it attracted about 7 million people to San Antonio over that 6-month course. And it's called the World Fair because people from all over the world came out to visit our city. They put the entire city, as well as the entire Riverwalk, on the map at the time. And it was so big that they had created this area just to take you over to the start of the party. It would take you by boat, and that's how the Riverwalk got popularized. Now we're going forward, going to come around this curve here. On the right side, there's going to be 2 flower sculptures. A yellow and a pink one on this second wall. These 2 flower sculptures were built by a local artist. She made them out of recycled bicycle parts, which I think is a very cool trait, so I like to point them out when we pass them. They're part of an installation called Bloom, and they are currently converting the Riverwalk into a public art garden. And they're going to be here for quite some time. That's got this beautiful, huge waterfall on the right. And if you keep looking over to the right, on the top of where this wall is going to be the Tower of Americas. Very, very tall up there. Tower of Americas stands at 750 feet tall, with an observation deck up top for the restaurant. This was the centerpiece for the World's Fair Party in 1968. That's when they built the tower. You are allowed to eat at the restaurant. It rotates 360 degrees on the hour, every single hour up there. So as you eat, it kind of spins very slowly. You're not supposed to notice it, but you see the city move around you. So it's pretty cool. And we are going to be coming up on a big statue here in front of us. It's called Silali, but in English we call it Stargazer. It's a person gazing at what looks to be a star. Pretty self-explanatory, Stargazer. Now they just unveiled this at the beginning of March. It's very, very new. It's one of the first installations for that public art garden. It's a person, like I said, crouching down, looking at a little star. The person is made out of Mexican volcanic ash, and the star itself is made out of marble. So it's pretty cool. Like I said, this one's brand new. They just unveiled it at the beginning of this month. Yes. How did what? They actually built it from there. Like they built it piece by piece on that area, so they wouldn't have to move it. On this right side, we're going to pass by one of our ticket locations. It's called River Center. All those people are waiting for a boat right now. But it's the same tour that I'm giving. It's just a different starting location. River Center here is one of our busiest locations because they sell frozen margaritas. They are some of the strongest margaritas on the river. We will not be stopping, but just for reference. Oh. They are very, very strong. We are going to be moving forward. In front of us, we'll be looking at the shops at River Center or River Center Mall, the shopping center that we have here downtown. We're going to enter the area called the River Center Lagoon. We're going to go around this cement block and then come right back out. The mall is going to surround us while we enter this area. You can see a good view of everything that they have. The mall was built in 1988. We had a budget of about $250 million to spend. They spent all of it here on the mall. Now it is very surprising. It has 3 stories. There's over 100 retail stores. They have a Lego Discovery Land, a Sea Life Aquarium, and a Dave & Buster's, all inside this mall here. There's a lot they have to offer. If that's not enough for you guys, they have more. They have 2 movie theaters inside, so like every movie at the mall. An IMAX theater, they also have an AMC theater. And if that's not enough for you, just going out a little bit more. On the 3rd floor, there is an obstacle course. If they have, if you look at the 3rd floor, you'll see a bunch of green beans. They put you on a harness that says you will come this time. Somebody's about to go. Very, very top of that green beam up there. He's about to go across. It's very terrifying, so maybe they won't go across. Please. That's what I'm thinking. If you've ever been to Main Event and how they have the whole course on top of the area, that's what that is, kind of. So it is kind of cool, very terrifying, like I said. Only kind of afraid of heights. They are planting a bunch of vegetation and now it's wet for the spring, for the summertime. And we get to probably June, and it's pretty good for that here in Boulder.
You might not want to see you use your credit card, but I'm here to protect you.
We're going to be coming up on the Stargazer again. When we take this right turn, there's a statue on our right side that I want us to look over to, but if you haven't seen a nice picture of the Stargazer, we have a picture of her as well. It's the last time we'll be seeing her before we come out of this area. So Stargazer, and if you're done looking at her, take a look over to the right side. There is another statue, a statue of a man holding a baby, so you know who I'm talking about. There's no other statue there, but I just described it for you. I had to. On the right here, we call him Saint Anthony de Padua. Saint Anthony was a 12th century patron saint from Portugal. He was the patron saint of children and lost items, and that statue back there is actually a gift from Portugal. They gave us the statue to recognize the city and the river were both named after him a very long time ago. It was back in 1691 when the first mass was conducted on the river. It was conducted by Father Damien Massenet on the feast day of St. Anthony, and so we wanted to honor that. He took the Spanish translation of his name. It ended up being San Antonio. That is what he named the river at the time. That's what we are flowing on today. This is a fake river, but it's still San Antonio. The city came about 27 years later. The river was first, the city was second, and the city just took over the name of the river that was already here. Yes. How tall is that building over there? It's about 600 feet. Did the statue die? The statue is very much alive, but the man died. On this right side back here, just above where these trees are, there is a church steeple, for anybody that can still see it. The church steeple back on this right side, those are the bells. I think it's 10, maybe it's 11. It's 11. That's going to be St. Joseph's Catholic Church. It's a German church, actually. It was built here back in 1868. Our city had a very, very large German population back then. That German population was voiced in the native language, but most of the Nazis,
We have 36 giant dollies. Each one of them had 8 wheels, and they moved the whole building 5 blocks down the road to Alamo.
It ended up being a lot easier. The church is surrounded by the mall, though. On 3 sides surrounded by the mall. The face is the only thing that's visible. We are going to go under this tunnel again when we come out, but I want to show you all the sculpture this time. It'll be on the right side, up on the street level. It's a big red sculpture. It kind of twists and turns up there. Really? That's cool. I've never been to Legoland, but I want to go so bad. Oh, that's nice. That's really nice. Now, sculpture there, it is called the Torch of Friendship. It was built here in 2002 and here in Mexico by a Mexican sculptor named Sebastian. It does represent the U.S. and Mexican relationship, so it's very complex. It offers a lot of different perspectives depending on the angle you see it from. So as you go around the sculpture, it actually tends to look a little bit different. It's done like that on purpose to represent the distinct changing opinions, because they're always changing depending on how you see the relationship. So it's cool that we have a sculpture to depict that back there, and I'm going to show you a second perspective. We're going to come out of this area. We are going to take a left. I want you to grab your cameras out while we do this. And as we take the left, if you can look back over the bridge here, back over this bridge, you'll be able to see it in the corner again. But it will look different. I think it'll look a lot cooler. I think it looks way cooler from this angle. You can see way more of those twisty trees back there. How's the way up top? Now the Torch of Friendship stands at about 65 feet tall. It was built in 2002, like I said. It was a gift from Mexico. Coincidentally, I was born in 2002. I was not a gift from Mexico. I was born here. We are the same age. It's 19 right now. I'm 19 right now. I age with it. I always have. So it's really cool. I think. As a kid, I used to think it was a slide, but it's not a slide. They don't want to go to the top. Now on the right, we are going to pass by one more ticket location that is called Historia. Same deal, same tour, so you don't have to worry about them. You can wave if they wave, but otherwise I want you to focus on the left side here. On the left is a hotel, a very large one at that, called the Hilton Palacio del Rio. They built this back in 1968. And this hotel had a very interesting story to it. They were built based on bets. They can build a hotel with 9 rooms or less, they won't pay $1, or they try to, believe it or not, they didn't pay $1. I'll start off with the first 4 floors and the middle elevator shaft, so it's like a top-side garage basement. We're not talking about all of the rooms. Every room up here looks identical, and it's actually because they are identical. They were built 7 miles away in a warehouse. They were all fully furnished. They had the tower racks, 4 different clothing rolls, TVs were connected, fabric inside, they had paintings on the walls, they had everything you can imagine. This is the Continental Hotel. They picked them up one by one with the crane, stacked them up like Legos on top of each other. did about 35 rooms per day, stacked off 500 in about 202 working days. It averages out to a little over 7 months, so they beat that 9-month time that they had. If it went over 9 months, they would have to rewrite every single piece of material that was given to them to build them themselves. That's why they were very intent on securing that $1 deal. Now, it was built so quickly that it put us in the Guinness Book of World Records for being one of the fastest built hotels of its kind using modular construction. Do you have any questions? Do I get a break? I do get a break. I do get a break. I've just never been to Legoland. I've never checked it out. Okay. What? Yes, I just know it's Legoland. I've seen the outside of Legoland. Now we're in the Arneson River Theater here. It's an outdoor amphitheater. We still use it today, very frequently. On the left are a bunch of stairs. That was actors' chairs. It's the open air seating on the left side, whereas the right side has a wooden stage. Now the stage has 5 bells behind it. They represent the 5 Spanish missions here in the city, but the stage is a little bit famous. It was featured in the 2000s movie Miss Congeniality, if you've seen it by chance. With Sandra Bullock, a little scene was filmed atop the stage, and the bells are visible in the background of that scene. So it is a little bit famous. Those are 2 very distinct famous places on the river. The Selena Bridge and the Miss Congeniality stage. On the right, we have some waterfalls. We also have a building behind the waterfalls. It's called the Bristol. The Bristol Western Art Museum. It opened up in 2013, so it's fairly new. They have a lot of sculptures like this one on the right side that we're going to pass by. This big, large one is called the Camino de Galvez to represent the cattle drives that happen here in the city. It has Pancho Villa's last known saddle, as well as Santa Ana's ceremonial sword. This building wasn't always a museum. It originally started off in 1930 as our first public library in the city. Now, after it was a library in 1968, they converted it into a circus museum. I could not tell you how or why, but they had a bunch of circus clowns, little artifacts for circuses back inside this building until the 90s. And we are going to continue forward. We're going to go under this bridge here. This bridge is very, very low hanging, so give me 1 second. It's very low hanging, but I want y'all to watch your heads while we go through here. It's cast iron, that's why I ask you please not to hit your head. But this is called the Rosetta Bridge. There's only 10 of them in the entire nation. 5 of them are here in San Antonio, so we have half, which is pretty cool. This one specifically was entirely bolted together. There was absolutely no welding done at all. It's all bolts throughout the whole bridge. That makes it different from a lot of the other ones. It's cast iron, it's bolted, and it is actually a street level, so it's a lot of weight to be held up from down here. Yes.
How big is that, like, that building that has the flag on it?
Oh, that's the one that I said 600.
Yeah.
Over here on this right side, we're going to pass by the only island on the Riverwalk. It is called Marriage Island because people get married here. It's very self-explanatory. The entire island has a natural heart shape to it. That's why people get married here. And the entire island is actually just this tree right here. This is a cypress tree. The roots of this tree go into the water to literally create the foundation of the island, and it's just sitting above its very own roots. If you guys want to stand up, this is the one time I will let you to see the exterior here. You can see how it kind of goes into the water near the bottom. So it is naturally made by the tree there. The heart was also made by the tree. And so when people get married back there, it wishes good luck and good fortune on that couple because the heart there was naturally grown. So it's kind of like a metaphor for their love. This is going to be Old Mills Crossing. This was the shallowest portion of the river in the 1800s. This is where most people cross. This is where the horses cross. This is where the horses turn. It's also where Teddy Roosevelt organized a few of his Rough Riders. He had a big presence here in the city and surprisingly at the Mango Hotel. This plaza here in the city. They only stand on one leg, right? I don't know why ducks do that.
It's to rest the other.
Oh yeah, flamingo ducks. Now we're in this straightaway. I want you to take a look over to the left here, all the way up at this building, the building with the American flag. It's super, super tall one. It's called the Tower Light Building. It was actually the first tower in the city back in 1959. Now back then, they did call it the Smith-Young Building instead, named after William Smith and Mr. Young, who were a set of two very superstitious brothers. And so they added gargoyles to the very top 2 floors. You look way, way up there. The gargoyles come up about 4 feet over the edge, but that was not enough. They also decided to install faces on the left side down here on the first floor. The gargoyles are way up top, but the faces are way down here. They go all the way across the first floor of the building. The faces here are in sets of 2, but there are 4 different faces in total. They're not very pretty faces, none of them, so we call them grotesque faces. They nice, but it has to be super, super late so they can see them. Now they are called grotesque faces. They're meant to bring good luck and ward off any negative energy and bad spirits, but it did not work out that way. It could have backfired. The building was built in June of 1929. It was lost in October of 1929, that very same year during the stock market crash. Now the building was built for $3 million. It was a lot of money. They lost it and had to sell it again for about $300,000 instead. It was a lot of money that they lost back then. Very, very big blow to the investment. And we're going forward and straight ahead. If you guys look up there, we have a building with an interesting green rooftop. It's called the Old Bexar County Courthouse. It's the old one because we have a new one, but it still works, so we still use it. They opened this in 1897. It's the largest and oldest continuously running courthouse in the state of Texas. Now that rooftop there, it has a lot of different colored green tiles. It's a little interesting, but it's built like that on purpose because from a bird's eye view, they wanted that to look like a patch of grass instead of a building top. And we are going to go towards it, but I want you to turn around for one quick second and look back at the Tower Lights building. From back here, it should start to look like a ship that is sort of facing up towards the river. So you can get the full experience. I will honk my horn for y'all, but if you don't want to hear the horn, I would cover your ears. From this angle, some people say it does start to look like the Titanic. If it helps you visualize the ship a little bit better. That was a great reference because the Titanic sunk. But it's also kind of something to start the stock market crash. We are going to take a ride though. We're going to take a nice little ride here. We're going to enter what we call the flood prevention channel. This channel is about 15 feet of water. It's one of the deepest portions of the river, so please do not fall in. If you're going to fall in anywhere, don't make it in here. This channel was built in 1924 as a precaution because of a flood that happened in 1921. Now in that year, the flood water came about 10 feet above the street level. So it was very devastating, it was very scary. They sort of built this out of fear, but it worked. We haven't had another flood as bad as 1921 since they built this. It connects to 5 floodgates and it keeps the water at the same level. Or it raises the water level, depending on who you want to use it. This portion gets to 50 feet. The deepest I believe it goes to is going to be 20 feet, but that's going to be up in the north channel. Now in a second, we're going to be approaching Main Plaza on the left side. On the left, there's a staircase. I want you to follow the staircase straight up, and it's going to take you right to the San Fernando Cathedral that sits in the middle of Main Plaza. Main Plaza was the original town square. The San Fernando Cathedral is known as the heart of San Antonio. It's the shorter building back there. They built that back in 1735. It's one of the oldest running Catholic cathedrals here in the city. It's been for a very, very long time. Now they built it on the exact center corner of the city, so that's pretty cool. If you go inside, there's a little plaque on the floor that shows what the pyramids are. So we call it the heart because the city's been growing around it since it was first built. Now we're going to go forward. Straight ahead is going to be the oldest cypress tree on the river. We don't know its actual age, but it is over 300 years old. So it's older than the city, this tree here. It's also over 90 feet tall. If you look at it, you follow it all the way up. It's just about 90 feet at the top of the building there. We're going to go under this bridge. This bridge is going to be floodgate number 3. We're going to go under it. This one, if you look just above where we are, there's going to be rubber and connected to a piece of metal. And that part comes down and seals off the area in front of us. So when there is water or heavy rain, this area up here does not get damaged. On the right side, just past this construction, is going to be a little balcony called the Esquire Tavern. The Esquire was the very first bar on the river back in 1933. They opened up after Prohibition. But when I say after Prohibition, I mean 1201, that very same night. They had a fully stocked bar and they were open to the public. The Esquire, conveniently enough, was a barber shop during Prohibition. The only barber shop in town. You could walk in for a special haircut. And then you walk out with the exact same hair that you walked in with and stumble down these stairs back here every single time. Before we get too far forward, yes. That's going to be condominiums or apartments. They're going to call it the floodgate. This is right by the floodgate. They're going to do anything right here. Now we are going to go forward. On the right side is the end of the line now. So it's wrong a little bit, since you guys are on. We will be coming to the conclusion of the tour though. I picked them up on the right, so I'm going to drop them off on the left side instead. It'll take me a quick second to dock the boat and tie this down.